if I ever run for office, I won't. First of all, let me back up. I'm never running for office of any kind of, I don't care what the pay is or the perks or all the sinister insider trading I could practice. If I ever run for office, I would get less than 1% of the vote for any race, any job, any municipality. No, I couldn't beat anyone in a political race. I know that, and I'm really proud of that, actually. But just to say this and get it out of the way, if I ever were to run for office, I want you to know something. You know that I'm rabid and or on crack or both. Something horrible is going on. Just so you know, if it were to happen, I'm pretty sure it won't. But if it were to happen, those things are going on. And whatever else, do people do PCP anymore, angel dust, whatever drug you want to come up with, you will know that I am on it 24/7. It's not going to happen. No way. Not going to happen. So let's just remove that because I'm not even going to pretend. Not even going to pretend that I'm in office. So taxpayers and voters and taxpayers. Tell me you do both. Would you ever vote for anyone? Is there any chance that anyone, not me, because I would say this often, so I know, I own how and why I don't have a chance. I own it. Would you ever vote for anyone that says it's none of my business? Would that ever work? You're going to lie, I think. I'll be honest. I think you're going to lie. I think you're going to say, oh, yeah, I'd go for that. I don't think you would. Would anyone ever vote for someone that says that's none of my business? None of my business. If anyone in office or running for office ever said, that's none of my business, be perfectly honest, they would not be elected. They would not be reelected. Correct? Correct? Are we going to fight about this? Let's just take this and let me dump it right back to you. No, you will never tolerate anyone saying that's none of my business. I don't think people like hearing me say that. It's so foreign. Okay, got it? There you go. Do with it whatever you want. I don't care what the issue is. If anyone with a microphone and a camera or wherever they are at any capital, certainly at the capital in the state of Texas, where there is never an option, never, ever an option, under no circumstance can anyone ever say, that's none of my business. Correct? Have you ever heard it? Could it possibly ever happen? It's not happening with me. I would do it a lot. That's why I lose badly. Let's pretend. Jeff would get less than 1% of the vote. Probably single digits in vote count. All right, so I'll be specific about this. I'll ask all of you a question along with a follow-up because it's happening. It's going to happen again and again and again and again at the Capitol. Right? One, do you really vote on this issue? I don't know anyone or know anyone how they would vote on this issue. And so if you'd say, yes, I vote on this issue, I'm going to vote on this issue, I want to vote on this issue, good for them. Why? Why? That now the follow-up, okay? So why is none of our business not an acceptable position at the Capitol right here as I speak? Okay, why is it not acceptable? Can no one over there say, yeah, you know what, I don't know how this is any of our business. Can we move on? We got that electric grid thing. We've got that public education thing. We've got that whatever, fill in the blank. How is it not acceptable to say it's none of our business? Why do you, the voter, make it their business? Why? Do I sound lost? I'm pretty lost. All right. I don't think I'll ever hear anybody say it. Do with those 2 points whatever you would like. I mean, notice how I'm not even giving you issue. Just take those two things and run with it. Do whatever you want with it. I would gladly, I almost welcome somebody to say, look, Ward, let me set you straight. Yeah, absolutely. Here's why I care. And here's why none of our business will never work. I would almost welcome that take. What's happening at the Capitol, you ask? My gosh. SB 15. SB 15. You heard everything I just said to you. You heard every question I just asked you. You heard every point that I just made. Your political heroes are over there as we speak, doing whatever they do, the opposite of none of my business. Senate Bill 15 bars transgendered athletes from competing against women. It's going on at the Capitol today, tomorrow, the next day, the next month, the next 6 months, who knows, the next 12 years. There will be no examples in Texas provided. Please hear me, none. No mention of the governing body of college sports, the governing body of college sports and its current rules on these issues. There was, before somebody tries, and I certainly would welcome anybody to do this. There was testimony, I believe yesterday afternoon, from a former Florida swimmer who said she competed against a transgendered swimmer from Penn a few years ago. There. So it's happening at the Capitol today, tomorrow, next hour, next 10 hours, next special session. It won't stop, taxpayers.
It's where we are today. It's the fact that we have to discuss this issue, and that we as Republicans have to move to protect women and to protect girls in our society, not just as it applies to athletics. I'm glad we're having this markup, though.
The conservative organization Texas Values hosted the Texas Faith and Family Day rally at the Capitol today. The rally comes on the same day that the Senate State Affairs Committee listened to public testimony on SB 15.
That bill would ban transgender collegiate athletes from competing in women's sports. KVU's Natalie Haddad joins us live from the Capitol now with more. Natalie.
Brian, Ashley, you mentioned that rally. Lawmakers could be heard chanting on the Capitol steps, rallying for SB 15. As opponents of SB 15 were inside the Capitol, speaking with other policymakers, encouraging them against it, calling it an attack on the LGBTQ plus community.
Save women's sports! Save women's sports!
At Texas Faith and Family Day at the Capitol, a rally held outside to address GOP legislation.
We will get it done.
While inside, one of the bills, Senate Bill 15, is heard on the Senate floor. SB 15 is the first piece of legislation to be heard in the Texas Senate that would directly affect those in the LGBTQ plus community. It requires college students who compete in athletic competitions to do so based on their biological sex.
Just
at Monday's rally,
make it stop.
National Collegiate Athletic Association swimmer Riley.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Did we hear the chant today? Save women's sports? Did I hear that chant? You heard that chant. Do you know how many examples were provided? That's zero again. That's zero. Oh, they found somebody from a few years ago that swam against somebody a few years ago that talked about somebody from a few years ago from another state. You know, the NCAA has rules. Has the NCAA's name and its policy on this issue been mentioned once? Has the conference policies been mentioned once? Instead, we had people out there chanting, save women's sports. What the hell is wrong with all of us? Seriously. But Jeff, what's your position on this? My position is clear. It's none of their business. Did you hear that? Please dictate to me and other taxpayers how it is their business, your dollars, however, whatever's in. Does anybody carry cash? I haven't had cash. No, actually, I did. I stopped at an ATM recently. It was bizarre. I was going through an art show, had to do the parking thing. I thought, wow, I got a tip. This is weird. I didn't even know how to do it. But let's just pretend for a second you had some cash. Just take it out of your pocket. Would you hand over? Would you Venmo your representative $20 right now to talk about this issue? Would you do that? Was anybody with a penny to their name caring about this issue? I'm sorry on either side. I'm sorry if you're offended, if you're LGBTQ. I get it. I get it. You're offended. It's a non-issue. Why don't people understand non-issue? There's a chant at the Capitol today. Not a freaking chant about the electric grid. No. Not a freaking chant about property taxes. Not a chant about the state's takeover HISD. No. Save women's sports? Who said they're not saved? I'll go back to it. How come none of my business doesn't work? You know it's none of your business. If it were your business, I have a daughter. If it were my business, you know what I would do? I would take it up with my school, my conference, my NCAA. And you know what they would say in the end? You know, Mr. Ward, maybe this doesn't work for you. Maybe it just doesn't work out for you. Maybe, Mr. Ward, you're never going to be happy with this. Yeah. Okay. So tell me again why you have a chant at the Capitol right now, Save Women's Sports. Could you tell me? Can you just offer it up, please? What any one of you get? Any one of you, I dare you, I beg you to say, Jeff, let me make the point. Okay, make the point. I don't care if you use the example from 6 years ago of somebody out of state who might have been swimming against somebody in another college who might have been competing, who might. Do it. Go ahead and do it. This is unbelievable. It really is. Like I said, what if somebody over there today, I really think they would be run, I think they might be run out of the Capitol on whatever side of the issue. I don't even, what is, there's no side to this issue. There's no side. And that's going to offend everybody. Good. What if somebody really did say, man, I hear those chants outside. Save women's sports. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Check. Can you hear me? Check. It's none of our business. What would happen? Would like the sergeant of arms run them out? They get tased? They get beaten up? What happens to the person that says, check? Can I speak now? Check. None of our business. Okay. Why, if she was there, I don't know. The former swimmer from another school from out of state who talked about competing against somebody at Penn. I don't know what she has to do with you taxpayers. I don't know if anyone ever said, why are you here? What do you have to do with the Texas taxpayers? And why in the heck didn't you take this up with the NCAA? Oh, you did. They already figured it out. Was she asked if the issue was taken up with her conference? Was she asked if the issue was taken up with the NCAA? Was the Florida swimmer from a few years ago the one example of the one situation that did not happen in Texas? I think it was. I've yet to hear the examples. Was she asked about the governing body of college sports and how they handled her disagreement with this? Was she asked that? Even if the former Florida swimmer was upset about this issue from a few years ago, I'll go back to the taxpayers, all of you. Do you vote on this issue? There's a chant going on, so apparently you're supposed to care. Maybe you're over there chanting yourself. Do you vote on this issue? You vote on this issue involving a former Florida swimmer from a few years ago, and if so, why? Really? Could anyone go out there to the people chanting and say, why, you're really worked up. What's going on with you? What are you doing right now? What's your point? And then say, what if, all of you, just be quiet for just a second. What if somebody could get everybody to be quiet for just a minute? Because I know it's impossible. But what if you could and say, listen, I need some silence for 10 seconds. That's all I'm going to ask you. What if someone inside this Capitol said it's none of our business? What would you do to them?